Right, we should now be live. Just waiting for it to come through on YouTube, I think. There we go, guys. Can you hear us? Should be going live now. Apologies for the delay. Yeah, boy, there we go. All right, Hybrid and Benerex, how you doing, guys? Okay. All right. Well, guys, back for the second podcast of many. First one, obviously, was Star Wars Gaming with Jedi Sync. Thank him for coming along. But obviously, it's now Star Wars Celebration with obviously my co-host Branster.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
There we go. Yuri, welcome. It's order as well. Welcome, guys. Anyway, guys, so yeah, today we're going to be kind of discussing Star Wars Celebration. There are already things that we kind of know are going to be there through guests, and there's obviously just a lot of content coming this year, possible announcements that we kind of want to go through, and just overall hopes and expectations, really, I think, is going to be a key point. But there's some guests coming to Star Wars Celebration. They've released a new poster as well, which I'd probably say looks awesome. But yeah, Brian, so what do you think of this new poster? Obviously, it's just come out within the last few weeks, is it now?
Yeah, so I think it's a nice blend. Obviously, you've got original trilogy characters, you've got prequels, you've got a mix of everything, which I think is, it represents the whole franchise, and I think that's really great about it. That's a great thing about it.
Yeah, because obviously, like over the last few years, it's almost felt like Disney have just been trying to shut away the prequels as if they'd never really happened, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think everyone was starting to see that, and they were trying to go against Disney and try and get them to know that. But then obviously we've been asking for Clone Wars to come back, and obviously last year we were greeted with this Clone Wars Saved trailer, which is phenomenal. And now this poster as well is showing us some of the prequel stuff with, and we've got Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan there. We can see Queen Amidala from her in Episode 1, Darth Maul Count Dooku as well. So it's really, really nice to see that there's a blend of all of them. The original trilogy and the sequels, they're quite prominent anyway, and the prequels as well. It's just getting those characters and just giving us a nice blend, and the whole background, the style of this poster, just honestly, it just looks
amazing.
So
yeah. I think that was a problem. You see, there was a little bit of a backlash over this fact that they thought that Disney weren't really bothering with the prequel trilogy, and obviously they brought back Clone Wars, like you said now, and obviously this poster, and I think we're going to get some prequel things at Celebration. We're obviously getting the Master and Apprentice novel, which is obviously
absolutely
sort of set before the prequels, but you can still consider it prequels.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they really are starting to bring back sort of prequel love, if you want to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think they're just trying to try and cater to everyone as well, because it did very much seem like they were shutting them out. And I think they've just kind of just realised actually this isn't the way we need to go, because it did very much feel like I can understand Disney bringing out their own trilogy now. They're trying to make Star Wars their own.
Yeah.
So
which is understandable, of course.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I can understand that they want to try and have a focus on their own content, but at the end of the day, they can't just do that. They need to provide for all fans, because there are those who don't like the prequels, but there are a lot of people who love the prequels and want to see more content from it. And I think a lot of that was actually down to the Clone Wars TV show. So seeing that back as well was just, I think that's satisfied a lot of the fans.
Yeah, I mean, with the Clone Wars, you see, there's people like me and you, and obviously we're really excited for it coming back. But then you get people who they're not really excited about it coming back because it's only going to be for a few episodes. So do you think that spoils it coming back, or?
I don't know. I mean, it's 12 episodes so far, and I think the downside to that is just the fact that it is just a short burst of episodes here. So whilst it's I can't wait to see it. It is a shame that it's so little, and that some of them will be stories that are already out there in books and stuff. So it's going to be great to actually see them on there. And some of the stories, in all fairness, I personally haven't actually gone and read yet because I haven't got around to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I am really looking forward to it. But unfortunately, the fact that it is only 12 episodes, it's got me a little bit down. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Clone Wars season 7. I'm hoping that there might be a chance of more, because obviously Clone Wars had there were so many episodes planned before they got shut down. So adding just 12 episodes now just isn't where they were kind of going for initially. So perhaps we could get more stuff. I think it's just Disney giving it a trial run essentially.
So, do you think we're going to get anything Clone Wars related at Celebration, whether it's a trailer or a panel, or what do you think?
I think we'll probably get some sort of panel, and that's where we can kind of look to the guests, and we've got Ashley Eckstein coming, and I think it's going to be really good for her to be on a panel as such with a few of the other guys. James Arnold Taylor, of course, as well, is going to be there. The actress who plays voices Padme.
Sam Witwer.
Yeah, Sam Witwer as well, Darth Maul. So there's going to be, and Powers as well, isn't he? So there's going to be, I think there definitely will be a panel for the Clone Wars. And I think there probably will be some sort of other trailer, because I think definitely we've already got one trailer which came out a while ago now. It shows off a bit, but it's like it's like a teaser trailer in a way. Yeah. So I'm hoping at Celebration we'll just get like a full-blown trailer really.
Yeah, I definitely think that we'll get a panel, like you say, and I definitely think we will get some sort of trailer, whether it's just 30-second one, whether it's just a little bit of a tease, or even if it's a full-length one. I definitely think we'll get something without a doubt.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like I don't want it's 12 episodes, so I don't want
a long trailer. Yeah,
I don't want a long trailer because I just feel like that might spoil too much. But then I say this all the time with Star Wars. I always get worried. Like with Episode 8, I was just really worried that actually I can't remember, it might have been the first trailer they released at Celebration, but I just felt like that almost, I always get this feeling that it might show off too much. And, when I watched the film, I thought, okay, actually, no, it didn't show off that much at all, really. But I just always have this worry, and I'm hoping that actually they can bring us some quite short snippets from different parts of the season 7 to then bring us like a pretty awesome trailer, actually.
So obviously, Celebration 2019 is going to be in Chicago this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure on the date. I'd have to check that.
It's the 11th of April to the 15th of April.
Yeah, so we're not that far away. I think, obviously, we was talking about it before we started streaming, and I think it's only 62 days away, so not that long away at all.
No, it's not at all, no. I mean, the fact that it's been 2 years since the last Celebration as well is just crazy. Like, I can remember the exact moment I was watching Celebration of the first Last Jedi trailer.
Oh, yeah.
I went out for a meal, literally. We were getting ready to go out for a meal. I was sat in my door, literally like next to my door, basically back to it, just waiting. Like I didn't want to go before the trailer came out. Trailer came out a couple of minutes later. We went out for a meal, and then out of the meal, I was just watching the Last Jedi trailer over and over again. It was just so exciting. And that was nearly 2 years ago. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember as well. I was just literally binge watching Celebration all weekend, and then obviously we got the Last Jedi panel, and Rian Johnson was kind of trolling us. He was like, is there going to be a trailer? I don't think there is. And then he just stood up and he was like, yeah, of course there's going to be a trailer. And I just jumped up, just so excited. And obviously we got that teaser trailer, and just like all the other Star Wars trailers, it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like Battlefront 2 as well. Like when that panel was on, I was just so excited. Like listening to the guys talking about it, it just seemed so awesome and everything like this. It was just really exciting, and it just kind of got like the trailer was released, and it was just like, oh my god, okay, here we go. Because they didn't really. The only thing that I was disappointed about with the Battlefront trailer was obviously they didn't really show off any multiplayer, but obviously it was like a story trailer. It was introducing the new characters, kind of going through and proving that it was all errors, and it was so good. And the music for it, everything was just absolutely incredible. And then a couple of months later, we had EA Play, where they released the gameplay trailer. A month after that, also we had Starfighter Assault. It was just all of the trailers got me so excited. And I can remember, as Sebastian saying, like Star Wars trailers are always exciting, but I think like Starfighter Assault, I was on holiday at that time. and they
Yeah.
released that, and I was just watching it literally over and over again because there were certain points. Like, firstly, it was just an awesome trailer anyway, as as DICE trailers are.
Yeah.
But just hearing Yoda, what seemed like Anakin and Ahsoka or something like that. Ryloth was there, like just the excitement, just I couldn't contain it. So, the game released. Ryloth was in as Starfighter's hot map. It was awesome to see that. We'd seen it in the Clone Wars already. Like, we were playing that story, and that it was just so good.
Yeah, and obviously we got a Rebels trailer. I think it was it season 3?
2 years ago now would have been.
And we got Thrawn.
I think it would have been season 4 because season 3 would have just ended a few months ago. I think. Like, if you can go back to 2 years ago, Rebels ended on like the 4th of March, 2018. Season 4 ended, so I think it might have been a season 4 trailer, maybe.
I'm sure it was season 3 because there was loads of Thrawn. When you go onto YouTube and you type in season 3 Rebels trailer celebration, there's loads of people reacting to it because obviously Thrawn got revealed. I'm pretty sure it was season 3. I think.
Oh, it might have been then, yeah. Because season 3. I was trying to think because it could well have been season 3 or some sort of. I don't know. It might have been. It just feels like the right time where they may have released some sort of season 4 trailer or something, because Rebels ended, about a third of the way, not a third, about a quarter of the way into 2018, back in March. So
yeah.
I think it possibly could have been, it may well have been season 3 for sure, but I don't know. It's one of those things, but. Star Wars Resistance is going strong now. I haven't actually caught up on the recent 2 episodes, I think, so I need to go and do that at some point.
Yeah, I'm behind a little bit as well. Yeah,
I think I might try and do that tonight, actually. But we'll hopefully get. I imagine like Resistance season 1 would have finished by the time Celebration comes out, so possibly we'll get some Resistance stuff because if you look at we've got. Tora Doza, the voice actress for her, Christopher Sean, who plays Kaz, a few other people, Yiga and was it Tam as well? Like, there's definitely a Resistance panel for sure because we got a bunch of the main characters going to be at Celebration as guests. So I think we'll definitely see this, which is going to be awesome. Possibly a season 2 trailer, maybe, or just some details or whatnot, because I think that would be awesome. I think that'd be really good.
You slightly mentioned it before, and I just sort of want to go back to it. Obviously, Celebration last year wasn't actually on.
Yeah.
So when they came out and said, "Look, we're not doing it this year," what was your reaction to it? Was you sad? Was you happy? Did you think obviously we had a lot of backlash in terms of The Last Jedi, and you could say that maybe Star Wars was in a little bit of a bad place in terms of the fandom. So what was your reaction to that?
I was definitely disappointed when there was no Celebration because I look at Celebration and just see it as a time where all of this news comes out and it's like, okay, right, this is going to be awesome. Lots of stuff to look forward to. Can't wait to see all these things. Celebration was cancelled and I was just like, okay. Like, looking back on the past year we've had, I can definitely understand that actually now because if you look back at it, there wasn't a huge amount they could have really done. There was this whole, backlash from The Last Jedi was still a thing. Solo was Solo was close to releasing, so okay, they could have possibly done a trailer there. But they didn't announce Resistance around that time, did they? Or was it a little bit later? I can't remember now, actually. But
I think they announced it just after Rebels had ended.
Yeah, possibly. But I don't think there was. They could have kind of looked back at stuff, but I don't really feel like there was particularly enough to warrant a Celebration in a way.
Yeah.
And I think based on the backlash that they had, just a few months before and still ongoing even today, looking back on it, I don't mind there wasn't a Celebration, to be fair. I think it's nice that I think it was good that they kind of took a year off, almost allows them to focus on things to come out. hopefully rebuild some of the fan base, and then going into this year, we already know that we're getting a lot. So I think it's going to be good. We're going to have a really good year of celebration. It's going to be over 4 days. We'll probably get numerous trailers, hopefully new reveals for stuff, maybe in 2020. All these things, that I think definitely looking forward to. So, yeah, to answer your question of, or to answer it, yeah, I was disappointed to start with, but now I'm looking back on it, I'm not too really upset about it now.
Yeah, I'm honestly the same. I was one of them that I literally woke up in the morning, checked my phone, for news and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I just saw that Star Wars Celebration is cancelled for this year, and I was like, at first I was so disappointed, I really was, because Celebration is one of the best things for me during the year.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't go to him, but I watch him religiously. I watch the whole thing, whether it's just panels or I watch all. So when it was first announced, I was so disappointed. But I'm the same as you. Like I say, when I look back at it, I think it was I think it was the right thing to do. I think it was a great call to make.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like if we could go through like quite a long list of just what's coming this year, because we've mentioned it before anyway, but
Yeah.
with Disney Plus, with Disney Plus, for example, Disney streaming service coming out later this year, we already know that there's going to be Clone Wars Season 7 and The Mandalorian on there, as well as the Cassian Andor show starting production in 2020.
Yeah.
Starting production, later this year actually it starts. So it'll probably release its first episodes part way through 2020, maybe, like later on in the year, perhaps. But, we know that there's going to be things coming on there. They could potentially announce a couple other things. We could get details on Rian Johnson's trilogy and God knows what else, There's so much they can do, not just for films, but, TV shows, games, all these things, because actually it was EA's investor call. So this is kind of going on a bit of a game side of it now, but EA had their investors call the other day as Disney, same time actually, and EA said that they've got a few details of they kind of Fallen Order's been very vague right now in terms of the information we've got, but they did say that there's a lot they're going to show, or they're going to show quite a lot during Celebration actually. So I imagine we'll see obviously quite a bit in EA Play, but Star Wars Celebration should hopefully be awesome because it's a new canon story, it's a new game, single player, all these things that actually we've been waiting for a long time. So it's going to be great to finally get some details for it.
I think the big question that needs to be answered is, will Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson be there? And if they are, is it going to be backlash? Is it going to be boos? What do you think in terms of that?
I think if Rian Johnson and Kennedy will be there, I think Kathleen Kennedy, definitely will. I think it's her role.
I think she sort of has to be there, doesn't she?
Like, yeah, it's her role.
Yeah.
So she has to be there in a way. Rian Johnson, I feel, I personally would like to see Rian Johnson there because I want to know something. I'm hoping that we could perhaps get some details on his upcoming trilogy, maybe. So I think that would be great for Rian Johnson to be there. Either way, there's going to be backlash for them both, I think.
I honestly think they'll both be there, without a doubt.
Yeah, no, I think they definitely will be. If there is like a bunch of backlash for it, I think it'd be interesting to hear like from Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson, like themselves, on like just talking about their experiences of The Last Jedi and over the backlash that they face from the fan base, because it would be interesting to hear their side of the story, how it's like affected them maybe as well, because hopefully that might shed some light on a few things maybe, but we'll see. Like the thing is that all this backlash and all that stuff on a personal level can have like a pretty deep impact, and it's just I'm just kind of want people to realize that actually what they're doing is wrong. Like there's absolutely no reason why they can't dislike something, but personally attacking people like they did with The Last Jedi, some people, like, it's just not right at all.
Do you think that there'll be a panel for Rian Johnson's trilogy, or?
I don't necessarily think there will be a panel for it. I just feel like there might be some sort, like I just think somewhere on the on the one of the stages maybe, like so not so much a panel really, but just like a little conversation about it. Um, just something small, you know, like it won't be on for too long, but maybe just get a few early details on Rian Johnson's trilogy, perhaps, because I'd really like to see some details, you know.
Teaser?
Teaser, well, as in like an actual teaser trailer, perhaps, or just like
I mean, like sort of like 30 seconds long, something like that.
Possibly, yeah. Because I mean, he's definitely. I'd say he's definitely working on it now. There are people who. There's rumors actually that his first film could come as early as 2020. So. Yeah. I don't think we'd get a teaser for it at all, considering we haven't even had anything for episode 9 yet. But I just think there might be some sort of conversation about it, because obviously we obviously have known for over a year now that it's going to be set in a completely different part of the universe, unrelated to the Skywalker saga. So maybe we could just get a few character names, maybe some sort of synopsis or something. Maybe, I don't know. It's something like some details about it would be great.
Well, so far, in terms of Celebration, the event itself, we have actually had some details. We've had the poster, which obviously we talked about before, great poster.
Yep.
And we've also had some guests announced.
Yep, had a lot of guests announced.
So we've had, let me just find a list here. Well, first off, of course, you've got Warwick Davis, the host for the main stage. I think, I think it was always inevitable that he was going to be coming back. I think he does it really good. Great job of it. So
yeah,
I'm happy that he's coming back.
Absolutely, yeah.
In terms of actors and everything, we've got Catherine Tabor, who voiced Padme in the Clone Wars. Christopher Sean, who voices Kaz in Resistance. Daniel Logan, Boba Fett from the Clone Wars and Attack of the Clones. Claudia Gray, of course, who's writing the Star Wars Master and Apprentice novel. D. Bradley Baker, I mean, don't really need to introduce him. Nope. We have got James Arnold Taylor. Again, I don't really need to introduce him. Iden Versio herself will be there. Matthew Wood, General Grievous, of course. Great voice actor. He also does the sort of like the voice effects, so he's really talented. We've got Tamara Morrison, who, of course, is Jango Fett. Timothy Zahn, which I think is a bit of a surprise, but I'm definitely happy that he's going to be there. He was the creator of Admiral Thrawn, basically. Yeah, obviously, in canon, you see him in Rebels, but there was a thing called Legends where Thrawn was first introduced, and that was all Timothy Zahn's doing. So, yeah, really happy that he's going to be there.
Yeah, and obviously he's got a new Thrawn book coming out later this year as well, hasn't he? So to finish off Trinity actually as well. So I think he'll probably be talking a little bit about that, perhaps, because
I actually forgot about that.
Yeah, because when I can remember looking when I was watching Celebration 2 years ago, they had was it Delilah Dawson? It was Delilah Dawson who did Phasma, wasn't it? So
yeah.
So there was a little bit of a.
She's going to be there as well this year, actually.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, absolutely. So there was like one little area, like one of the smaller stages that had almost like a Millennium Falcon like area where there's like the chess table sort of thing, you know. So she was there and talking about the Phasma novel a little bit, not too much, of course, but just talking about her experiences with with writing the Star Wars novels and stuff like that. It was really good. So I think it'll probably be a lot of the authors may well be on something like that as well. And obviously, speaking of Delilah Dawson as well, she's obviously writing a Galaxy's Edge novel called Black Spire. So, like, Galaxy's Edge is obviously the theme park area opening up in Orlando. So they're going all out for this, actually. So I think there will probably be some sort of main panel for this, just based on just talking about all of the things that are going to be there, all the canon side of it, or the stories and so on. So I think that would be really, really interesting to see.
We have also got Tom Kane, who of course voiced Yoda in the Clone Wars. He voiced, he did the narrator as well, and I believe he did Admiral Yularen as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like the narrator does sound very much like Yularen anyway, so doesn't surprise me there. If it would definitely not surprise me if he was.
Yeah, he definitely did the narration. I'm sure he did Yularen as well. So again, amazing voice actor. So obviously, I don't think this is even a final lineup, but there's just on this list, there's loads of faces and names, and I think there's definitely going to be a lot more. So it's looking to be a great lineup so far, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, no, I'd say this is probably going to be one of the best celebrations we've had. Honestly, I mean, you can see a bunch of the cast from the Clone Wars TV show, a bunch of the cast from Rebels. You know, not Rebels, sorry, but Resistance. You know, we've already got a bunch of people actually from the show already, like the main characters. You know, Yiga, Tam, Kaz. Tora as well. You know, there's already a bunch of people from Resistance on the list, so I think we'll definitely be getting a lot of panels this year, a lot of news, trailers, and stories from their experiences. You know, so I think it's going to be a really, really great celebration this year.
So, in terms of people who haven't been announced yet, if we was talking about voice actors, directors, who do you think? In terms of who's not been announced yet, who do you think we're going to get?
I think it'd be really cool to see Benioff and Weiss just some sort of appearance.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Pure, just to see if we can get any information on their show as well, on their film series as well, because actually theirs was only announced a couple months after. Like theirs was announced about. When was that? Maybe around a year ago, something like that.
Yeah.
So around a year ago now, you know, they kind of spoke about it, or it was first announced. Though, whilst it would be great to see them, I think they'll have Game of Thrones releasing around that time as well. I'm not following Game of Thrones, to be fair. So I think that comes out around that time, maybe a month or so after, or whenever. So perhaps we could see them a little bit, but I feel like they'd probably be busy with Game of Thrones at the time, so perhaps not. Because they haven't, from what I remember hearing, I don't think they haven't started it.
No, I don't think they have, no.
They're not starting it until Game of Thrones is finished, which obviously, once Game of Thrones, essentially finishes, I guess, when the episodes start airing on TV, you know? So once Game of Thrones final season starts, that's kind of the point where actually they can go right, okay, let's do this, because they've already I have absolutely no doubt that they've already been in talks with Lucasfilm around, you know, Disney around what they're actually going to put on in their film series. It's
without doubt,
they've already spoken about it for sure, and they kind
of
maybe have some sort of synopsis and all this stuff, but it's more of the main details that actually they perhaps haven't quite got yet. So I don't know. I think it'd be nice to see them on the stage as well, just doing a little bit. Other than that, you know, actor-wise, looking kind of from a game point of view, we've got Janina Gavankar coming. So Iden Versio, she played in Star Wars Battlefront 2, so she's coming. So perhaps we could see something about Battlefront 2, maybe. You know, Jedi Fallen Order's coming out later this year, so you could probably see some of the actors from there, like the main character, get his name, a bit of information from that and stuff, you know? So I think going on, we've already got a lot of great people coming to Celebration already. So I think for me, things I'd like to see from Celebration in terms of the people, we've already got a lot of them, but I think just seeing perhaps Benioff and Weiss, I'd quite like to see Rian Johnson just because of his film series as well. Perhaps we can get some information there, and then perhaps more of the actors and personnel who works on some of the upcoming games as well, you know, because I think it would be really good to have an appearance from them and just EA in general. If we can get some people from EA to just go at Celebration and be like, right, okay, this is what we're doing with the franchise now in terms of the games. You know, I think that would be really good because.
Well, there's people going from BioWare for the Old Republic, so that probably means that we're probably going to see people from DICE for Battlefront 2, perhaps as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have absolutely no doubt of that. We've got EA Play coming up a few months after Celebration anyway, so I think we'll definitely see something there. But I think it'll be really, really good to see some sort of roadmap, or just they can go like, right, okay, this is the content coming out later this year,
Yeah, yeah.
and then EA Play, they can do a similar thing as well. Maybe perhaps release some sort of gameplay trailer for some of the upcoming content. Because Battlefront 2 is getting in a really nice place. It's getting in a really good place right now, in my opinion. They just need to make sure that they keep going at a steady pace, because there's this whole thing about new game mode being delayed, all this stuff. But I think if we can get them at Celebration, they can release a bunch of content and stuff like that, then that would be awesome, and just um, again, going back to the whole EA, you say there's people from BioWare going as well for the Old Republic, so DICE as well would be nice. We'll definitely get people from Respawn. Um, and there's apparently, according to the story, when the smaller Star Wars game from EA Vancouver was being cancelled for a smaller project, we could possibly see something from that maybe. But there was also apparently a completely unannounced game from EA Motive. So perhaps we could see that get unveiled, maybe not like necessarily like unveiled, but just someone can talk about it briefly.
Yeah, in terms of the Game of Thrones showrunners, I think because obviously they've already released like trailers and teasers, so they've probably already filmed all the stuff. So I think they're probably just in the middle of taking a break right now, and then perhaps come to Celebration, and then after that, perhaps that's when they'll start filming and doing all the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely, because that's going to be like, they're doing Game of Thrones. That's been their big project for God knows how long now. And then as soon as that's over, they'll probably just have like a big focus on Star Wars, which is going to be really, really nice to have actually. Because yeah, like if it, the reason, like, people are saying that actually, they've done Game of Thrones, who made the Old Republic, and I genuinely think that it's a perfect opportunity to bring the Old Republic into the canon. But it's a risky play, but I think it'd be quite a good one for them to go and do it as well, just because of the overall basis with Game of Thrones.
Well, that's what I was actually going to come on to, actually. But first, we have actually got a question from the Star Wars guy. And he says, what would we think if Zay Versio came into Star Wars Resistance?
Yes, do it. Plus, because like the reason I say this is because Battlefront 2, we had the campaign when it released. A month later, we got 3 extra story missions. Beyond that, absolutely nothing, and it just doesn't feel like it just doesn't feel like we're getting absolutely anything at all campaign related anymore. Like, just that's not happening. So I think it would be great if we could possibly see Zay, even Shriv in episode 9.
Well, I think that's the case
Resistance as well. Yeah.
If they're going to bring him into episode 9 and develop the characters even further, it would be good to put him in Resistance.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, episode 9 will probably take place. I imagine we'll see them take place. Episode 9 will take place a couple of years after 8.
Yeah,
maybe.
a few years after.
And the thing with Zay and Shriv is they were sent on the exact same mission that Snap Wexley and other people were, and that was to go into the Outer Rim and to find their allies. So, I think maybe Snap or could Zay and Shriv be the ones who find Lando, bring him back to the Resistance, all this stuff, it's just that kind of connection. I think Resistance would be a really, really good way of actually telling this story, because if you look at the recent Star Wars Resistance trailer, you go and think, actually, okay, well, this is going to episode 7 now, because we can see Hux's speech on the hologram, and we'll probably see Starkiller base fire. So it's like, right, we know this has happened. Episode 7's just finished, so actually, when season 2 starts, it's basically, because that's probably going to be like right at the end of Resistance, I imagine, season 1. So season 2 can be like, right, okay, well, this is now actually going to be the start of, The Force Awakens essentially just ended. Last Jedi literally takes place exactly after Force Awakens. So it's going to be like, right, this is how they're going to tell the story of people going to the Outer Rim. So they can send Kaz on missions into the Outer Rim, trying to find the allies, all this other stuff. You know, like the potential for Resistance's story and how it connects episode 8 to episode 9, I think is really good. So seeing Zay and Shriv, even like Snap Wexley as well in the Outer Rim in Star Wars Resistance, I think would be a really, really good way to actually come into story.
I think no matter whether Resistance is a lot more aimed to younger kids, a younger audience, I think it's going to be a lot like Clone Wars and Rebels in respect of it's going to get a lot better as the seasons go on. So season one sort of mild. It's just, you know, introducing us to the characters and what's going on. But season 2, and obviously if we get beyond seasons with season 3, etc., it's going to get a lot, you know, grittier. Especially like you said, we're leading up right into the Force Awakens, and you know, who knows? Maybe right at the end we'll get the Last Jedi. Who knows? Yeah. But it's definitely going to get a lot better as it goes on.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you like Clone Wars, it did like the first few seasons. It never really for Clone Wars. It never really had that more like, oh yeah, it's really kiddie feel. It just the overall like it just felt a bit meh. Like it was good for sure.
It was good. Yeah,
it just didn't really have the same impact as the later seasons. So like the actual storytelling and stuff like that got better throughout. Rebels started off a bit. I thought the storytelling was fine in Rebels. Started the whole way through. It was great towards the end, but I felt that actually the start was just a bit too, well, not too childish, but it was highly aimed at like children.
Mild.
Yeah, it was fairly mild. So
and then it built itself up, and that's when it got darker. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Rebels did that really, really well, and I haven't watched Rebels now since the end of the episodes. And just looking at it now, like Rebels was honestly so good. Like I remember when it was first announced as well.
Yeah, I was about to bring it on to that.
So good. And Resistance. So Resistance, I can see at the moment it's a lot more. It's milder than how Rebels started. But I always find myself, every single episode, I find myself having a giggle, smiling, and just having fun, honestly. Like, yeah, okay, it's definitely aimed at people younger than myself, younger audience than Star Wars Rebels. But I just find myself, smiling, having a laugh and stuff like that. And just, it's the wacky things that happen sometimes just a bit. It's funny. And honestly, it's just fun to do. And I just look across to my left and I see my brother watching it as well. And he's having a smile as well. And that for me is what like really draws me to Resistance. It's because I'm genuinely having so much fun whilst watching it. Yeah, okay, it's very mild, but I'm just enjoying myself watching it right now. And its connections into everything else now as well is great. I loved seeing Station Theta Black when we saw Phasma with her droid as well.
Yeah.
Like that was just really, really cool. So
nice little Battlefront 2 reference as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's like when I first saw the image for the teaser trailer for that. I don't watch the teaser trailers because I don't want to like spoil anything. But I saw that as the image. I was just like, oh damn, I really want to watch this episode now, because it's just like it's a Battlefront 2 reference as well, which is great. And the story potential for Resistance. I keep saying Rebels. The story potential for Resistance. It started off nicely, as you said earlier. It's introducing the characters really nicely, bringing up these connections. Now it's going into the late stages of the 6-month period and getting towards the Force Awakens. So I think if we see Starkiller Base fire, Kaz at some point will probably find the news that his father has passed away due to Starkiller Base destroying the system. But it's going to be interesting. The end of the first season, when season 2 starts, it's going to be hopefully really good. As the story progresses, it'll probably get grittier, as you say, much like Rebels, and just connects the two Last Jedi and Episode 9 together, hopefully quite nicely, actually.
See, when Rebels was first announced and we got the season 1 trailer, there was a lot of, obviously, Clone Wars had just finished, so the comments were just filled with backlash, because obviously people didn't want the Clone Wars to go. And obviously, because it'd been replaced with Rebels, and the season 1 trailer, it looked good for what it was at the time, but it looks a lot kiddier than the Clone Wars. And then obviously, it just got darker and darker as the seasons went on, and it got better every episode. And obviously you had the filler episodes, but you just ignored them, and you focused on the main stuff, with Maul and Vader and Thrawn.
Yeah,
and I think looking back on it, then people they'll appreciate it a lot more, like what they do with Clone Wars, because it got to finish. Filoni got to finish it, and I think they'll appreciate it a lot more now that it's finished, and they can look back on it and they can watch it all the way through. Yeah, and I think they'll appreciate it a lot more. And in terms of Resistance, so I'll watch it and I enjoy it, like you say. But for me, I think because it's still in season 1 and it's like we've been saying, it's a lot more milder. I don't really sort of relate to the characters. It's one of them where I don't remember all the characters' names, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I remember the main character, like Kaz, and I think she's called Tora or something.
Yeah, Tora Doza, yeah.
Yeah, I remember them too.
Niku. Oh, Niku. Love him.
Well, yeah, but they're the only two that I really remember, so it's sort of like, you know what I mean? But I think as it goes on in terms of seasons, I think it'll get a lot more sort of relatable, and I'll start to remember it all, and I'm really excited for what's coming up. I really am.
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing. Like, it's, some people just live in the past sometimes. So sometimes what comes out, people just they instantly hate and all that stuff. Or some people are just in the present. But for me, it's, I look ahead to the future and think right, what's coming out? What's the potential for this TV show?
Yeah.
And okay, all right, the potential for Resistance genuinely is actually it's really good. It can tell us these stories that we haven't heard yet, connect the two films up together with obviously Last Jedi Episode 9. And I think it's just interesting, so far they've obviously introduced these characters like Yeager's crew, Kaz, Poe is in it as well, Phasma. But more so, Star Wars Resistance at the moment is heavily based on the Colossus, with these, with the racers and all this stuff. So it's how Resistance moves on from this is going to be really interesting, because they've got they're called the Aces, I believe, aren't they? So
yeah,
they're introducing the Aces, like Tora and all this stuff, and it's progressing into season 2 and 3. They're not going to keep the main focus on the Colossus whatsoever, absolutely not. But it's just what happens next. I don't know. Think literally as I'm saying this, I'm just thinking about it. But perhaps we could see, the First Order destroy the Colossus. The Ace pilots essentially don't really have anywhere to go. They potentially join the Resistance, and they form a new squadron or something, maybe. I don't know. I think that would be pretty damn cool actually to see. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, because we're definitely going to get, as the seasons go on, we're going to get more references and throwbacks and characters. I think as soon as that season 1 trailer dropped for Resistance, I think everybody just thought straight away, are we going to see Kylo? And I definitely think we eventually will. I think it'll be in season 2 though, but I definitely think we will see him.
Will. The thing that's I know, because we saw in some of the trailers we've seen Kylo Ren's shuttle, or what we thought was Kylo Ren's shuttle, but now actually it kind of just feels like maybe it's just a
First Order shuttle, yeah.
It's just almost like a Lambda shuttle sort of thing, actually,
Yeah, what the Empire had.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I thought it was a fairly mainstream ship, Krennic's, for example, but I think actually it's probably just one of the mainstream high-ranking Lambda shuttle, perhaps. But either way, it's pretty awesome. It's a nice reference to Kylo Ren initially, because that's how we perceive that that vehicle. So I think it'd be great to see Kylo Ren in season 2. Again, it will just build on his story, develop him, and we can see what he did. Get Alan Driver into voice act, everything like that. That would be so good.
Yeah, when Clone Wars finished, when it ended, I was absolutely gutted. And then obviously we got Rebels, and I wasn't one of them that bashed it. I saw the trailer, and it wasn't the best of trailers, but it looked pretty good for what it was. And I was willing to give it a chance, because as gutted as I was for the Clone Wars ending, I gave it a chance because it's a new show and it was still being headed by Dave Filoni, so that got me on board straight away. And then obviously Rebels ended, and I was sad that it ended, but it ended on Dave Filoni's way, you know. So I wasn't gutted about it ending in that way, but I was sad to see it go. If you get what I mean.
No, I was definitely sad to see Rebels go, but I think it ended in a good way.
It ended in the best way, without a doubt. And then obviously we got the Resistance trailer, and again, I didn't bash it, but it was different to what we've seen in Star Wars before. And obviously that can be a good thing. Like, it's proved to be a good thing, whether you hate Resistance, whether you love it. I think it's a great thing because it's moving Star Wars forward in different types of media.
And that's the thing. Like, it just feels like sometimes actually people feel like Star Wars should be restricted to just do like these live action films, and it's like, and maybe just like Clone Wars style animation and stuff like that.
But most of the animation stuff is better than the live action stuff, though.
Well, that's the thing as well. Like, people have all these different opinions, which is understandable, of course. But I don't think Star Wars should not be limited to just certain types of media. If we look to the actual like TV shows as well, animation style, it shouldn't be limited at all. You know, Star Wars is so diverse in the people it has. You know, all these different alien species, all the different actors from all, places around the world and all that stuff. Like, Star Wars isn't limited in their universe, so why should it be limited in ours? In our world, they shouldn't limit things to. They absolutely shouldn't limit it to different media, and it just helps move Star Wars forward. Because we're now getting the first ever live action TV show, which is something that actually people have wanted for a long time now. There was this whole thing about Netflix with an Old Republic TV show at one point for some reason, but to get live action Star Wars TV show as well as films, animations, and all these different things is really good. It's going to move Star Wars forward, and I don't think that's a bad thing. People are worried that they're going to oversaturate Star Wars, but I know it's completely different. But if you look at Marvel has 3 films that release every year essentially now. I know it's completely different, but I think if we had just 1 film per year and then like a few other things, or 1 film every 2 years and just the other things in between, then that's absolutely no bad thing at all. They can go into completely different parts of the universe like they're doing with the Game of Thrones showrunners and Rian Johnson as well. They're moving Star Wars forward. They're telling new stories, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing,
I honestly think that Resistance is going to be a lot like Battlefront 2. And what I mean by that is, I think as Resistance goes on and we get into Season 2 and we start getting trailers for it, Season 2 and beyond, I think it's going to start to win over a lot of fans, like what Battlefront 2 has done with the trailers. I really do think that. Yeah,
no, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I think the season 1 of Resistance, the trailer for it, it probably got bashed a little bit. Loads of people hated the art style. Loads of people hated the animation style. I personally actually quite like it. It's different. It is definitely different. But I've lost my thought. I was reading Zorkin's comment. God damn it. But yeah, I mean, I'll go to Zorkin's comment now because that's what I was thinking of. But one movie a year for Star Wars, it's not too much, honestly. It depends on
I don't think it's too much.
No, I don't think it's too much at all. I think 1 movie a year is fine. But yeah, okay, Marvel has all these different superheroes. They can the thing with Marvel, actually, to be fair, is they've got these heroes like Spider-Man and Iron Man who essentially they each have a bunch of villains that they face in their lifetime. So they can do these standalone films in a way, still part of the story, but they can do these films that actually show these things, but then also build into the mainstream Avengers, because in a way, the Avengers films are kind of like the main Star Wars films. But then, Rogue One and so on and stuff like that is almost like Spider-Man Homecoming sort of thing. They're not whilst they are part of the main story, they're not fully focused in on that. But then obviously with Star Wars, it's not, as Zorkin says, it's not as versatile as Marvel. It doesn't have the same potential to go in all these different things from what we already know. But then actually, kind of to counter that, actually, Star Wars is incredibly diverse. They've got so much potential. They can bring in all these new characters, which, to be fair, they already are doing. Cassian Andor was just one of the main characters in Rogue One, and now he's getting a TV show, going on his backstory. Star Wars is a massive universe. There are going to be a lot of characters. There are some characters we already know, and they can go and focus on that. Whether it's films or TV shows, there's no limit to Star Wars, really. They can, as Rian Johnson and the Game of Thrones showrunners are doing, they're going to be going into their own completely different part of the Star Wars universe, coming up with new Star Wars stories. Some people will probably say, like, oh, this isn't Star Wars, but, like, it is Star Wars. It is Star Wars. It's just not the Star Wars and that you grew up with, essentially. That's kind of the way I see it.
The Star Wars guy also did ask, do we think Phasma will be used in Resistance in the timeline between Episode 8 and 9, regardless of whether she's in Episode 9 or not? And he also said, I know Rian Johnson made that comment that she's like Kenny from South Park. Is she going to be in Resistance between Episode 8 and 9?
Like,
if they go that far?
I've never really watched South Park. I apologize. So, is Kenny like one of the guys who just keeps on essentially like getting beat to hell and all this, and just like
I've seen he keeps coming back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, if Phasma is almost like Kenny from South Park, then I don't see why not. I don't see why she shouldn't come back, because it's almost like she dies in The Last Jedi. The Supremacy gets torn apart by the Raddus, and she falls down this like fiery place. But there's absolutely no reason to suggest that actually she could possibly just have fallen like down somewhere, got off on her feet and managed to scramble into some sort of fighter or something. I mean, that's kind of what, to be fair, that's kind of what she did in the Phasma comic. Obviously, we know that she went down a trash compactor in Episode 7. Starkiller Base shortly blew up thereafter, but the Phasma comic explains how she got out of the trash compactor, did all these different things on Starkiller Base very quickly, got on a TIE fighter, left and went and did her own thing essentially before Episode 8. So actually, I think I think she could definitely come back, but it's just how they do it, because Phasma for me was one of the characters I was most anticipating and looking forward to. So I don't see any reason why she can't come back in Resistance, perhaps, and even potentially in Episode 9 as well. Because I'd really like to get more Phasma, because she's got a lot of potential, but she just hasn't really been shown off that much. And seeing Phasma in like some proper combat would be awesome.
I honestly, I don't really want her to come back, in all honesty.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, if they brought back Phasma and Snoke, then that would probably be like too much.
See, I'd much rather them bring back Snoke than Phasma.
Oh yeah, no, I think I definitely rather they bring back Snoke than Phasma. But
yeah,
if they were to bring back both, I think that would maybe be a little bit too much. Though I think actually it wouldn't necessarily, like, me personally, I wouldn't necessarily mind that too much, because I like both characters and I want to see them develop more. But if I was just to have to choose one, then I'd definitely just go and choose Snoke for sure, because there's still so much mystery around him that actually, I feel like they do need to bring Snoke back and then just explain stuff.
We mentioned it before, the Game of Thrones showrunners, what they're doing. Do we both agree that we want to do Old Republic related stuff?
Honestly, like, obviously I don't really know much about the Old Republic. Thanks to your lore series, I'm getting there. I'm able to learn a few more things, but I think I personally would love to see Old Republic, and me not really knowing too much about it, I don't necessarily, like, me personally, because I don't really know that much about it, I would kind of say it as in, like, I don't really mind which direction they take with it, but it's more a case of actually there are loads of people who absolutely adore the Old Republic, and if they were to see, like yourself, and if they were to if they were to come and do the Old Republic, then actually they would probably have to keep it fairly similar to what it already is in the Legends as best as they can, really, because otherwise, I think if they did the Old Republic with characters people already know, like with if they go way back to Revan, or whether they come to Malgus, all these other people, and they change their stories, then Legends fans will probably riot and have a go at them, and there'll just be even more backlash because whilst they want them to be canon, it's not the stories they know, so it wouldn't pretend it. Like that's like I said it earlier, but doing the Old Republic, I think for the canon would be a really great thing. I just think it's also a risky move, and they need to play it as safe as possible, really.
But do you think if they was to bring back the Old Republic stuff, do you think it would be better as a TV series so they can flesh it out a bit more, or do you think it would be better as a movie trilogy?
Well, that's the thing. I genuinely think that it would probably be better off if they did a TV series.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
because it just, from what I've already watched from your videos and what I've played with Star Wars: The Old Republic and like the small amount of KOTOR I've played, it all feels, yeah, exactly. It just all feels absolutely massive, and it's like, okay, like the Game of Thrones showrunners are doing a. It's like, yeah, okay, all right. So they're going to be doing a film series. So Rian Johnson's doing a trilogy. They're doing a film series. So okay, they could probably get like 6 or more films, for example. Which, if they did that, then okay, they could probably get a decent amount of Old Republic stuff in the films. But through a TV show, they'd be able to flesh it out even more. They'd be able to tell more of the story and just, overall just get more done with it. So I don't know. I think a TV show would probably be better. But yeah, they do need to try and play it fairly safe, I think.
Yeah, if they were to bring back Old Republic, definitely would be a TV series. That would be the best option to do. A film trilogy, yeah, it'd be pretty cool to see it in cinemas, but you can't flesh it out in a movie trilogy. Yeah, it's 3 movies, but what, 2 hours each movie, just over? So it's like over 6 hours combined. You can't fit the whole Old Republic stuff into that amount of time. So
no, absolutely not.
Definitely better as a TV series. I don't know, maybe 7 seasons, 8 seasons. I mean, you'd have to go to an extreme number because it's, like we said before, it's absolutely massive. It's enormous, the Old Republic era. And
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if they were to do, well, actually, the thing is though, because obviously there's like the KOTOR side of it, and then there's like the Star Wars: The Old Republic thing, and they're obviously like a few other years apart, aren't they? So the thing with that is like, okay, well, you could probably do stuff on like the KOTOR side with Revan and all these other things. Yeah. But then there's also a few hundred years later when there's even more Old Republic stuff. And it's just like, where do you, like, it's like, if you were to do a TV show trying to do all of it, then it's like, you would definitely firstly need to have a huge number of seasons. But per season, you'd want to have probably like 22 episodes at best, like minimum. But then also, actually, you probably want it to be a separate TV show. Like, whilst it would still be the same story, jumping from, like, let's say season 6 being the end of the KOTOR side of it, suddenly season 7's like a few hundred years later, it would just be a little bit strange. So they would probably have to do 2 separate TV shows if they were to do that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it definitely would work better as a TV show. But if we look at The Mandalorian, I think they're only having, is it 13 episodes or is it like 8 or something? I can't remember. It's not a huge amount, but they're like 45 minutes long, essentially, because of the no ads thing. So it's like 40 minutes, like 45 per episode. But to start with, they're only having like 8 or 13 episodes. So it's like, well, if they were to do Old Republic, they definitely need to go up and step up to like 21, 22, 23, as most American TV shows actually do, because that way you can actually like try and flesh it out a little bit more.
See, I'm thinking back to the Star Wars: The Old Republic cinematic trailers, and if they were to do a TV series for it, Would you like to see it CGI like it was for the trailers, or would you like it to be completely live action?
I feel like I probably prefer it to be live action, but I think actually seeing like a CGI sort of thing like those trailers would actually be really good, because those trailers are absolutely fantastic. You
Oh,
just go and watch
yeah.
them. Like, the one with Satele and her master with Malgus,
Return,
like,
yeah.
that one is my favorite trailer. I'm like hands down, and as well, the Jedi Temple one as well. Whew,
They're my
like,
favorite trailers, and maybe even content in all of Star Wars, without a doubt.
yeah, I mean, they are incredible trailers. So seeing like a CGI sort of series like that would be pretty cool, but at the same time, it would take a very long time for that to actually produce. Overall, though, I think I probably would prefer live action. But there's absolutely no reason to actually think maybe they could go and do a CGI sort of thing like that in the future anyway. But
yeah, so you'd be down for both.
I think I'd absolutely be down for both, but I would prefer to see live action.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm the same as you. I don't know, because we're not seeing it in live action yet, and we don't know what it would look like. That's why I'm sort of on the fence with that. So
yeah, I mean, like the thing with like the trailers is that it's, I say this a lot with, I tend to say this quite a lot with Battlefront 2 and stuff like that, but it's like, it's fairly close to live action. Like, it's obviously not live action, but it's close to it in terms of the way it looks.
Yeah.
So, like, the trailers definitely are, but then obviously the overall game itself, isn't. But, so, like, seeing those trailers, it all being CGI and all that stuff actually is really, it's all really impressive stuff, actually. So I think it would look cool. It would be really interesting to see, but live action, I think, would probably be the way to go.
So obviously, we're both agreed we want to see it, but I think the most important question is, do you think we will see it?
I think we probably will. I think that actually there is probably quite a lot of demand for it. I imagine there's a lot of demand for.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So a lot of demand for it. I think Disney may eventually kind of cave in and go like, right, okay, we're doing this. I just think that could I think that could possibly take a while for that to come into play. But yeah, I think we'll probably will see it, but it might just take a bit of time.
Yeah, I agree. I think there has been a lot of teases, whether it's obviously Rebels, you had Malachor, the Temple, that was obviously from KOTOR 2. You've had teasing on Twitter from people like Matt Martin, who mentioned about Malgus. So I think we definitely will see it. Whether it will be what the Game of Thrones guys do, it would be cool to see him do it. But whether they will do it, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I would love them to do it more than anyone else.
Yeah, no, definitely.
The Star Wars guy says, will they have to bring Snoke back in Episode 9 to delve into his backstory, though? Couldn't they just do a prequel about Ben's seduction, have Luke and Han interact, tie up loose ends, etc.? Anthology film, ? What do you think?
I think, in short, yes. I think they could do that for sure. There's no reason they need to bring back Snoke. I just personally would really like to see that, because I think there's potential for story in Episode 9 if they did that. But personally, if they did a film on that, I wouldn't have an issue at all, really. But I think, definitely it would be interesting for sure. But it's just not the need for it, but it's whether the overall story, what they could make of it, really. I think they could definitely try and do something.
I think, regardless of whether they bring Snoke back or not in Episode 9, I think we definitely need to see whether it's a comic or maybe a novel, just about, like he says, about, the prequel about Ben's seduction. And yeah, I think it'd definitely be better as a comic or a novel.
Yeah, I think a novel or not like just a simple comic mini series, but like an actual comic series on that would be quite good. Because like 5 comics wouldn't be enough for it really. So if they did like a series and had like 15 comics or something like that, just to like maybe explain that side of the story, that or that or just going into an actual novel, then yeah, okay, that would probably work more. I think the story for like the potential for the story is definitely there. I just don't necessarily think it's a story worth showing in a film, perhaps.
So in terms of celebration, there's a lot of novels that are gonna probably be announced. I mean, obviously we've already got Master and Apprentice, got the Thrawn novel, got various other things.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want from a novel to be announced at Celebration? If you could have anything, what would you want?
Anything? Wow. Novel-wise, like I'm gonna be taking a bit of a long-winded route to get to it, but I think if we don't, because obviously if we look at Rebels for a minute, right, we saw Ahsoka and Sabine at the end, essentially after Episode 6 had happened, with they were on Lothal. The city was like grand and stunning, and there was this cave with Ezra and all that stuff on it. And Ahsoka was with Sabine, and essentially it's kind of led to me thinking, actually, okay, right, they're going to probably go and try and find them now. They're going to probably try and look for Ezra and try and find him, all this stuff. So I think it would be pretty awesome to see a TV show for that, like another animated show, like after Resistance, they can go back to it and do that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's what I want.
If they didn't do it as a TV show, I think a novel, like maybe a trilogy, even.
Yeah, but the next best thing, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would, yeah, as you say, it would definitely be the next best thing for that. If they don't do an animated TV show, do a novel or a trilogy of novels to try and like explain that, because the story that builds on from Rebels to get to that point, the way it ends, it's just like, really, like there's still more you can still explain so much more with this. Obviously, the whole Rebels title doesn't like, it wouldn't then make it right. So they ended Star Wars Rebels in the right way, but they can definitely do a sequel to that and do something else. And that's like when Resistance came out, like initially for Star Wars Resistance, I thought perhaps, okay, well maybe actually this could be the sequel to Rebels and explain how they find it. But then when they were like, oh no, it's completely new characters and all this stuff, I was like, oh, okay. Well, actually, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be good. New characters, new stories, all this stuff. But actually, there's still so much that, like, regarding Ezra and all this stuff that they haven't yet explained, and they very well could do. So, if Star Wars Rebels kind of only has like 3 seasons, because I can't see Resistance have too many. Like, if Episode 9 is the end of the Skywalker saga, then all they really need to do is have so they've got Resistance now, building up to The Force Awakens, and probably end around The Force Awakens ending time. They can then have season 2 and 3, season 2 mainly, building off from The Last Jedi, continuing the story, like developing how the Resistance, started to grow in the Outer Rim with all their allies, blah, blah, blah. Season 3, continuing on from that after like some sort of major thing happening, and then building up to Episode 9. I think if they did that, that's kind of how I would see Resistance potentially ending, just filling in that gap, and then they can go back and be like, right, okay, Ezra, Sabine, Ahsoka, maybe Hera and stuff like that. This is what we're going to do for you guys now, because actually the story's definitely there, and I think it's definitely worth telling, because I want to know. We saw Ezra just like, flee, they went away and nothing. We know absolutely nothing now, and it's something that I think actually we probably should know at some point. Definitely there's a story. So basically, if they did do it as an animated show, novel it.
Yeah, I definitely think that'd be pretty cool to see in a novel or something. In terms of what I want, I think whether it's in a novel or a comic, I definitely would want to see something sort of underworld type, maybe with bounty hunters or
that would be awesome.
I'm not quite sure what the actual story would be, but yeah, something definitely with bounty hunters. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the ones from the original trilogy, so like Dengar, Bosk, Boba Fett.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Like, not only that, but obviously we know that in The Mandalorian, you know, it's kind of, you know, out of the reaches of the New Republic's authority. So there's probably going to be almost like underworldy sort of crime stuff, all these different things, you know. So I think if there was some sort of bounty hunter in there, like we obviously know IG-88 has already confirmed for it. Bosk has been rumored, as was IG-88. So I think if there are going to be some like maybe new bounty hunters in that, they could possibly, they could very possibly do a novel for them, maybe.
Yeah, sort of like a prelude to introduce him, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that would work. Just doing, you know, like maybe they perhaps did a few things for Jabba before the Mandalorian sort of thing, before Jabba died and all that stuff. Like they can, you know, we can see those bounty hunters going on these missions, you know.
The Star Wars guy says, in your minds, what do you each think Snoke's backstory is?
Well, Andy Serkis and like JJ, like kind of both of their points, you know, they said that he's a completely new character. He's more powerful than Snoke and Vader combined, sort of thing. So,
Palpatine and Vader.
Did I say Snoke and Vader?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, okay, Palpatine and Vader. All right. I apologise, guys. But you know, he's more powerful than Palpatine and Vader combined, and he's a new character, sort of thing. So I don't know. It's very like mysterious. Like it, you know, like there's the whole thought of, you know, it being Plagueis and all that stuff. You know, with the whole Black Ring as well, it's leading to Plagueis. But I think perhaps it could just be a new character. But he like kind of knew about Plagueis and his story and all that stuff, like found his ring and all these things, you know. Who knows? Who knows? It's very in the wind right now.
Straight off the bat, I honestly think it's Plagueis. I really do think it's Plagueis, without a doubt.
It could well be. I mean, there's the whole things with this, like his face is so deformed, and he's so tall and feels crippled and stuff like that. It's strange, but like if you like Snoke in Episode 7 and Snoke in Episode 8 just looks so different as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So it's like, how did that happen? Like, how do you go from? I'm just gonna get the picture up for myself now in a sec, but like, it's like, how can you go in such a short period of time from looking like this to looking like that? It's really strange. Like you can see the connections are there, but it's like, yeah, he is vastly different.
Well, there were rumors apparently that. Well, I say rumors, more sort of. I don't know how you'd explain it, but basically, people were saying that maybe Luke gave him the scars. Do you think that's possible?
Possibly. I mean, like, it feels like Snoke is so hell-bent on getting rid of Luke that
he's obsessed.
Like, exactly. He's absolutely obsessed with Luke. So, like, revenge, possibly. You know, could it be? You know, that's definitely. You know, I think there's definitely potential for that. But yeah, who knows? I mean, it's strange. Like, I just want them to, you know, explain how he, you know, kind of came about, like what abilities he has, because again, like, he just looks so different. And there's the whole thing actually of Snoke kind of looks like the guy in that fountain on in The Last Jedi as well, you know. So it's like, does Snoke have a completely deeper meaning or something, you know, because the, you know, Act 2 is like one of the very first like kind of Jedi play temples, all these things, you know. So it's like, is Snoke dated all the way back there? Is he Plagueis? Who knows? You know, there's a lot of things that kind of actually relate him to Plagueis. So it's interesting, and I hope we actually find some sort of information in Episode 9, because JJ has said that he's linking all of the trilogies together. You know, prequels, OT, ST. He is literally linking them all. So how he's going to do that, we just don't know yet. So I'm hoping we can find out more in episode 9.
I definitely think the theory about Luke giving him the scars, I think that's definitely possible.
Absolutely.
Maybe Luke gave him the scars, and then obviously you know about how Luke was training the Jedi, and then that's when he turned Ben, and then obviously it all went from there, and Ben turned on Luke, and
yeah,
I think that could definitely be a strong theory. I think it's definitely something that could turn out to be true. But then, in the midst of all that, you've also got the Knights of Ren. It's like, where would they come into it then?
Yeah, I mean, like we obviously know that that Ben fled the Jedi Temple with a bunch of students. So it's kind of like, actually, okay, the Knights of Ren are probably ex-students as well. But from what we've seen of the Knights of Ren so far, they didn't look particularly, force lightsaber wielding kind of characters. That's it. It was really strange. But the whole Ren thing, like the Knights of Ren, all their stuff, almost like the Sith kind of thing, really, aren't they? Like, so their own batch of dark side users. That's kind of how it feels to me. But then looking at those characters, it's like, well, actually, are they other Force users or not? Kind of thing. Like, I want to see the Knights of Ren come into episode 9. I think the fact that they weren't in episode 8 at all was a bit annoying, because I definitely wanted answers about them. But if we can get something in episode 9 and beyond, then that would work really, really nicely.
Well, talking about episode 9, obviously we're going to be getting an episode 9 panel, a celebration. Obviously, JJ is going to be there, I assume, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I would expect
Hamill, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, most of the cast. Yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah. So I assume we're obviously going to get a teaser. Are you looking forward to it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, there's this whole thing of people just going on like, oh, release the title, and it's like, okay, yeah, right. Like, to be fair, we at this point 2 years ago we already had the Last Jedi title, but just because they released the title for the Last Jedi at this point, it doesn't mean they're going to release the title for episode 9. Like, what I don't understand why people are expecting it just because the episode 8 name drops. I don't understand why people are suddenly expecting the episode 9 title to drop any minute now, sort of thing.
I think they really will release it very soon.
I think they'll release it soon.
I think what would be cool though is if they kept it till celebration and they revealed it with the teaser.
I think what would be awesome,
sort of like what Avengers have done with Endgame.
Yeah, I think what would be great is if it essentially doesn't reveal the title. Like, unfortunately, if the trailer goes up to YouTube, it will go on YouTube fairly soon. Quickly after it shows off in at Celebration. But I think what would be great is if at Celebration, and to those watching it live, it would be like, okay, here's the trailer, but they don't unveil the name until right at the end.
Yeah.
So it would be like they show us certain clips, and it's like, oh, this looks so cool, and it's like all of a sudden here it is, like Star Wars Episode 9, whatever the title's going to be. Oh, that would be awesome. I think that would be a really great way to do it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the thing that I prefer, because obviously it's also the last film, not only in the sequel trilogy, but obviously in the Skywalker saga. So it'd sort of be a special way to do it, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Numty says, should Admiral Thrawn have been used in the sequel movies instead of Rebels?
I don't in the sequel trilogy itself, in the kind of time period they're set, I don't think he necessarily whether he should have done, I don't really think so. It's interesting to ask that. I think they definitely could have potentially woven him into the sequel trilogy as some high-ranking First Order officer, maybe just someone high up in the military, like Hux or something. But
I mean, I would have preferred him to Hux without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, if they had him instead of Hux, that would be fine. I don't mind Hux, but he's very peculiar at the moment, but I mean, my favorite part of Hux has definitely got to be a speech in The Force Awakens. So that was awesome. But I think if they made him some sort of character like Hux in the sequel trilogy, that would have been cool. But I just don't think that necessarily would have done his character justice. Though I think, I do like his appearance in Rebels. To be fair, I think he had a really good part to play.
Yeah.
It was definitely it helped make Rebels a lot more interesting. So personally, like having watched Rebels now, I think it was not like I know that the whole original like Thrawn appearances was in after episode 6 something novels
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
that's what I was going to bring it on to, because obviously,
Yeah.
if they would have gone down the Legends route, then it would have had to have been in the sequel movies.
Yeah.
But in terms of the question itself, preferring being in sequel movies and Rebels, see, it's hard because Rebels, I liked him in Rebels, but in Legends, he was a lot sort of more ruthless.
Yeah.
Whereas in Rebels, it was mostly because obviously not a kid show, but it was for a mature audience, if you get what I mean. So I'm happy that it was brought into Rebels.
Yeah.
But I definitely think there's room for him in episode 9 if they would have filled out what happened, obviously, with him and Ezra.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Star Wars guy says, I think Darth Bane gave Snoke his scars. Hisham says Snoke's definitely not dead. I don't think Snoke's dead either, to be honest.
No, to be honest, I don't think so.
Numpty says, is the more storyline they set up in Solo completely abandoned now?
Well, the thing is though, like there was all these questions about whether we'll get a sequel
yeah.
Solo. Ron Howard, like himself, said that it's up to us, that it's up to the fans whether.
Yeah, he said if there was enough demand, then Disney would
give it to us. Yeah, he said like it depends on the fans.
Yeah,
but the whole like, what's really annoying is just the fact that because of Solo's performance at the box office, all this stuff, it's a real shame because actually I really enjoyed Solo, and I know I've seen people on Twitter over the last few weeks actually say that just seen Solo for the first time, really wish I'd gone and seen it in cinema. It was a lot of fun, great movie, all this stuff. So it's like it really is a shame. Like people were giving when Solo first came out, I think a lot of people were like not sure on it because the whole like Last Shadow backlash, and they maybe seen some reviews for it and they didn't turn out the best, all this stuff. So it's like they probably perhaps like gave it a miss, but they've gone and watched it now and actually they're like, oh no, I wish I'd seen it. And it's like, I'd love to see a second film. Like, it sets up really, really well for a sequel to it. Whether it's like going to be like called Solo, probably not, but it could be another anthology film, essentially a sequel to that. I think that would work really, really well.
See, the thing that annoys me with this situation is the fans they shot themselves in the foot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because the ones that didn't go and watch it, and then obviously they watched it when it came out on DVD and everything, and obviously they saw it and they liked it, and they were saying, "Oh, can we have a sequel now?" But because of how bad the movie did at the box office, Disney aren't, as far as we know, they haven't got a sequel planned for it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And that's because of the fans.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a shame because I feel like, that it wasn't marketed well at all.
No.
Like, the marketing for Solo was awful, but at the same time, I feel like it performed poorly as well due to, I think, due to the Last Jedi backlash as well. I don't think that helped the situation at all. And that's just it's just a real shame because, like, okay, I totally understand people didn't enjoy The Last Jedi, but it's the fact that you didn't like The Last Jedi so much that you're not going to go and see this next film.
Yeah.
For Star Wars. Like, some people just didn't do it because they don't like Disney or something like that. Some people just didn't do it because they hated The Last Jedi. It's just like, really? It's like, it's still Disney and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's nothing to do with the sequel trilogy. It's all really, it's like a new story for us sort of thing, and it's just like, thought, yeah, okay, like the whole Han's origin, all this stuff was a thing in Legends and all that stuff, but for canon and all that stuff, all new story, and it's like, well, now that you've gone and seen it and you've actually liked it, why didn't you go and do this in the first place? Just because they were so like essentially butthurt with Last Jedi, some people didn't go and watch it. It's just like, oh, it's really annoying.
They also shot themselves in the foot because if they were always planning on seeing it anyway, but they waited until after the movie and they watch it, you know, like I said before, when it came out on DVD or something, then they shot themselves in the foot again because the magic of a Star Wars movie is you see it in the cinemas for the experience.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I you know, I wasn't around for The Empire Strikes Back when it came out, but I've spoken to people older than me who've said that when they saw The Empire Strikes Back in the cinemas, it was so spectacular and it's so magical. And obviously not just with that, but obviously because of that, you know, I'm Your Father moment, that's why people pick that movie. But just, you know, with every Star Wars movie, the magic is watching it in the cinemas and getting the full experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I can just, going back, like, so, I mean, I was essentially, 5 years old when Revenge of the Sith came out, but I didn't go and, you know, I was, like, my mum and dad went to see it, but I didn't. I was just left at home with my brother and my grandparents. But the first ever, like, this is why I love, like, this, why I'm really enjoying Star Wars, like, expanding on that stuff, because after finishing watching episode 8 and all that stuff, me and my brother both asked my mum, like, is there going to be, you know, is there going to be an episode 7? Is there going to be any more Star Wars? And she was like, oh no, there won't be. It's like, I was like gutted when I heard, like, when she said that, I was gutted. But then Disney was like, all right. It was literally I was driving to school with my dad in the morning, and it was like, oh, Disney have bought Lucasfilm for how, like, was it like $4 billion, blah, 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 and they're going to be doing a new film trilogy. And I was just like, hell, I was so happy. I was like, hell yeah. So the day finally came where we went into London to go and watch The Force Awakens. I was just couldn't contain my excitement and all that stuff. We sat down in the cinema, the lights dimmed, adverts started playing. It was like, come on, like, get to the film already, you know? Adverts, all this stuff, lights dimmed even lower, and it was like, boom, okay, right. So it went black, you know, it came up with all the, you know, things and the title of the film, all this stuff as usual with the rating. And I was like, right, here it goes. That faded away. And it came up with Lucasfilm Limited, all this stuff. And then silence, like dead silence. And I was like, I looked at my brother and we just like nudged each other, like, just like super excited. The Star Wars logo just like shot onto the screen, started going back and scrolling up, and I was like, oh, like with the music as well. I was just like, oh my god! I was smiling so much. I was like nudging my brother, like, oh my god, this is genuinely happening. And nothing will, like, no cinema experience will ever compare to what I had with episode 7. Like, never. It will never happen again. I won't have any, like, as good a time at the cinema as that one time. And then, you know, Rogue One came out again. Like, it was really interesting not having the title sequence, but it was just Rogue One for me. Like, Rogue One for me is the best Disney Star Wars film without a doubt.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Like, Rogue One, like, okay, the title wasn't there. There was no, like, music like there was normally. I mean, it had its own theme tune, of course, but it didn't have the same, you know, scrolling title. So it was like, it was different for sure, yeah, but it was just an absolutely incredible movie. So I was like, came out of that, I was like, right, that was a really good film. Really enjoyed that. Last Jedi, again, you know, went to the cinema, you know, nudging brother, smiling when the whole music thing, like, it was good. It wasn't as good as Force Awakens in terms of that feeling, but it was still a great feeling. It's gonna have, like, when episode 9 comes out, I'm gonna go and watch it with my brother, and it's gonna be a great time. But you know, it's one of those things that actually seeing Star Wars in the cinema with the completely black lights, you know, you might have your popcorn or your sweets or whatever you've got, and you're just there watching for the first time a new Star Wars experience. Because, okay, you know, watching the Star Wars films at home is great, but when it's a completely new experience at the cinema, it's just one of the it's one of the best like experiences you can have at the cinema, to be honest, for me anyway.
Yeah, when I saw Force Awakens in the cinemas,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I went and everything, and you know, you had all the adverts, and everyone was just talking, and people on the phones, and obviously you had, like you said, the rating thing, and you know,
Yeah.
Star Wars Force Awakens is certified for, you know, whatever, and then the lights went down. And obviously you had, you know, Lucasfilm, and then you had A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away. And I don't know if you've seen them, but you see all these videos on YouTube, sort of like audience reactions to films. And
Mm-hmm.
you have all these crowds going like crazy when they're seeing all these certain moments in the films and everything.
Yeah.
And over here in the UK for us, it's like, it's never really like that in the cinemas. It's always quiet and people just enjoying the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really get anybody going wild or anything.
Yeah, which I'm glad about, to be honest. But
Which it was very different with The Force Awakens, because the title came on, like I say, the credits started rolling, everybody just went absolutely wild. Everybody was screaming, and everyone was just so excited when them credits started rolling right at the start.
yeah, see, I didn't get that, unfortunately, but
yeah, I don't mean like people weren't jumping up and down or anything, but
yeah,
you know, just
like
screams.
and,
yeah. And it was so magical, and obviously that movie in particular, in terms of, you know, the start of it and everything, it was magical. But I think it's like that with all the movies as well, not just Force Awakens, but The Last Jedi, you know, Rogue One, and yeah, it's definitely a magical experience watching a Star Wars movie in the cinemas, without a doubt.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, going back to like The Force Awakens, for me, is always going to have that special place, simply because it's the first Star Wars film I've ever seen in a cinema. So, like, for me, it was just like, it was one of the best. It was the best cinema experience I've ever had. To be fair, really, it was just incredible. But I was just then gutted that I had to wait a whole year, because, like, I can understand the whole oversaturation point, and I think one film is absolutely fine. But like me, like, the thing is though, I could literally, I'm one of those people that I would love to see Star Wars just come out like as much as possible. Like, for me, it would never be oversaturated, honestly. Like, unless they release like a film like every single, you know,
every single day.
Yeah, like, you know, if it got like ridiculous, then perhaps. But you know, if they release like 2 films a year, for example, with like a TV show and all these things, then I wouldn't I wouldn't mind that at all. Personally, I know other people would, but like from a personal standpoint, I wouldn't mind that at all.
Yeah, I was the exact same coming out The Force Awakens, and I was sort of torn inside, because obviously I'd just seen freaking Han Solo die.
Oh, I know, yeah.
One of like my childhood fucking, you know.
Yeah, the things that I was like, I already knew before I watched it, though. That's the thing, because so I think it was a Saturday when we saw it, but so it came out on the Thursday, like night going to, I don't know, like it came out basically, but someone like a brother, like got one of Guy's friends or someone he knew had already seen it, so he then said, "Oh yeah, someone dies, all this stuff." So Guy actually like went and asked who it was, and he then found out, and then Guy told me Friday night, and he was like, "Oh yeah, someone big dies," and I was like, "Oh god." It's like, you know, who like I knew he already knew, and like looking back on it now, I just think I did it because I didn't want him to be the only one to not like experience that. But you know, so I basically asked him. I found out it was Han Solo. I was just like, oh my god, really? Like, and all that stuff. But when I saw it, like when I was watching the film, it got to the point I actually knew it would happen. Like, as soon as he shouted Ben, I was like, oh crap! Like, this is actually happening right now, and like I'm reliving the experience now, sort of thing. Like, he walked up to him, all these things happened, and it was just like the lightsaber ignited, and it was like, oh my god, he fell down, and it was the closest. It's the closest I've ever been to crying.
I was going to say the same.
Like,
I'm not afraid to admit that I teared up. I did tear up.
Absolutely. Like, there are times I may well tear up at like TV shows and stuff like that, just because like some of those moments, and it's like I don't like crying. That's the thing. I will do it, but I don't. I prefer not to. But that point in The Force Awakens was the closest. I was probably on the breaking point really, but it was the closest I've ever been to crying because of it. Like, I was genuinely tearing up every time I was just like, it didn't come out, but oh my god! Like, if I hadn't known, I think I probably would have like actually cried or something. But yeah, oh my god!
Leading up to The Force Awakens, I didn't really have questions. I was just so excited to see it. And then I came out of The Force Awakens, and I just had a ton of questions that I wanted to be answered straight away. And then I realized, wait, I have to wait like whatever it was for The Last Jedi to come out, 2 years. But then I remembered, I was like, oh, you know, we have got an anthology film between then, Rogue One, so that'll sort of, you know, that'll make it not as bad. But them questions, it's just so agonizing after having to wait for the next movie. I mean, and then I went into The Last Jedi. I came out of that, and that was the exact same. I had more questions.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, The Last Jedi didn't really answer that many questions. It just gave us more. But that's like, for me, that's part of the experience with Star Wars, is that you come out of it and you go like
it always leaves you wanting more.
Exactly. Like, I always find myself with Star Wars, like, either always wanting more, just with so many questions, like whether it's to do with the future or with, like, with the anthology films like Rogue One, it's more to do with the past. But you know, it just leaves you wanting more, and it is just the agonizing pain of having to wait. But I feel like now that, you know, like 2 years ago, I didn't have this. Well, so yeah, I mean, it's obviously not been quite 2 years, actually, to be fair. It's been like a year and a few months. But, you know, when The Force Awakens came out, it was a genuinely agonizing 2 years until The Last Jedi managed to get there. Last Jedi came out, and I didn't, you know, again, it was like just agonizing 2 years. And, you know, it was just me and my brother. You know, I didn't have like this community at the time until like many months later. So now that, you know, we're obviously now doing this podcast and we're talking about it, and that just, it fuels my excitement.
That's the beauty of Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah,
it brings people together.
It's brought so many of us together. We're all really good friends. And I hope that in the future someday we can literally, like, all of us just get together, meet up or something, like, whether it's a celebration,
or
something, you know, like it would be incredible. Like, and now that, you know, I've got you guys and we're now doing this podcast and we're talking about Star Wars, it firstly just provides like nostalgia, like looking back at the times we've had with it, but also fueling the excitement, talking about more Star Wars and stuff like that. Whilst it does get me really excited for things, it helps me as well, because it's like, it doesn't.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel like I have to wait as long. But you look at some Star Wars YouTube stuff, it's like theory, like there's a bunch of theory stuff, and it's like, so like, that's what's great, is like there's so many questions asked in Star Wars that they're just all these different theories that are thrown out away and stuff like that, and it's just like it's crazy. It's really
I have so many theories, and like I say, it just brings people together. Like when we first met, I never thought, oh, this is going to be the guy that I'm starting a podcast with for Star Wars podcast. You know what I mean? And that's just the beauty of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, we've had this conversation a couple of times, but, you know, I saw you on Twisted stream before. Like, that was, I think I first saw you on Twisted stream, all this stuff, and, you know, you were mod, all this stuff, and I saw you on Sammy stream, all these things, and then it was like in September or something, like mid to late September. Then you came on my stream, so I was like, oh, it's him. Like, I already knew this sort of thing, you know. And I saw you as like, you know, like, you know, you're a moderator for like Sammy, Twisted, all, you know, and like a few other people, and it was like crazy that you were in my stream, and it was like, oh boy. So it was like, and then obviously I'm like, you know, we then, you know, started talking, you know, we speak on a regular basis, become really good friends, and it's all because of, I mean, in this situation, it's all because of Battlefront 2 and all this stuff, but then obviously Battlefront 2 is Star Wars, and it's all because of Star Wars that everything, this whole community exists, really, you know, all because of...
Well, then you could even say George Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, like, that was what I was about to say, you know, it's all because of, like, the ideas of this one guy, you know, just, you know, over 40 years ago now. It's just...
Yeah, it's mind-blowing when you think about it.
The impact that, like, you know, it's the impact that George Lucas has had on so many people's lives is just crazy, just because of what he's created. And it's just, like,
I think that could definitely be a topic for our future podcast, without a doubt. Impacts that Star Wars has had on us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And I think that at that point we can just get a couple people on here and there, and then we can talk to them about their experiences and all that stuff. You know, I think that would be really good.
But Celebration. So we talked about the Clone Wars episode 9.
Bit of Resistance and stuff.
Resistance. The Game of Thrones showrunners, whether they'll be there. Obviously, we've talked about Warwick Davis is hosting. Some of the names that have already been announced in terms of guests. Mandalorian. What we're going to get a Celebration for that?
I think we'll probably get some sort of teaser trailer for that. Maybe like we don't. I don't know. We do get trailers for TV shows like quite a lot. To be fair, but it's just I don't see them as like, for some things that I've seen, I don't necessarily see them as special sort of thing as a film trailer, you know. But I think we'll probably get a trailer for The Mandalorian at some point. A bit more information. Like at the moment, we just know that it's The Mandalorian, but we'll probably get the name of The Mandalorian as well. We'll get some details on that, really. Hopefully we'll see some sort, you know, in the trailer we'll definitely see some sort of action and stuff. Like, yeah, we'll probably see some like basic details and a teaser trailer, I think, for sure, with The Mandalorian. And then maybe a few months later, before it's due to release, we'll probably see maybe another one. I don't know.
Do you not think we could maybe get a little bit of a teaser before Celebration and then sort of like a full-length trailer at Celebration? Or
I think, yeah, I mean, it probably would. We could get a trailer before, but I don't really think we will. Honestly, like if we got like a teaser trailer, like you know, within the next like maybe month or so, within February or early March, to then go and get like a full-blown trailer in April, it would be a little bit.
Yeah, it's sort of a bit oversaturated.
Yeah, it would oversaturate a little bit and just feel like it's a little bit like, not that it felt rushed, but like, what's the point in releasing a small trailer and then a month later doing this full-blown thing? Like, game-wise, I know, okay, like with Battlefront 2 at Celebration, they had essentially a story trailer, and then EA Play, they obviously had the Galactic Assault like multiplayer trailer, and then in August they had the Starfighter Assault trailer at Gamescom. But like, that's, you know, that's different. Like, that was showing off like different features. But if it's just like a you know, because it's like a TV show that at the moment it's actually only having like a fairly small amount of episodes, I don't think it necessarily warrants like one trailer now, another trailer a little bit later, sort of thing, and then probably another one before it releases. So I think what they'll probably do is tease a trailer and some details at Celebration, and then maybe a month or two before probably about a month before it's set to release, they'll probably release another bigger trailer.
Now, Dave Filoni is obviously going to be there for The Mandalorian because he's directing the first episode. He's going to be there for Resistance, Clone Wars as well, and then I forgot about that. Do you think he's going to be there to reveal any other new projects, or?
Well, the thing is, though, like, he's obviously part of the Resistance team, but actually he's not got as much of a influence as he did as like the Clone Wars and Rebels. Like, he's
not heading it all.
Yeah, he's not having as big of an influence on it. So actually, I think that possibly he could do part of that, but also have his own project in the works as well, maybe. But I think, we've obviously seen rumors and leaks that Sabine's helmet's been found on set of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So I think actually the whole thing with Ezra and Sabine and all that stuff and Ahsoka, that could possibly be linked into The Mandalorian at some point as well, maybe.
You see, I think I would be up for that, but at the same time, I'd definitely prefer it to be like its sort of own TV series.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would, but I think perhaps it's just one of those like cameo appearances. Perhaps it's just like, yeah, okay, we probably, we very well may see Sabine in like the first episode, but it would just be a bit more of like a cameo thing and getting some
maybe
sort
while
of
she's in the middle of
yeah, perhaps just like on the start of the journey really, and then we can go and see a bit later on. But I think it'd be like seeing some like live action Sabine or like Ahsoka or something like that would just be awesome.
I think if they was to do that, they wouldn't even need she wouldn't even need to speak, and she'd just have a helmet on, so you wouldn't even see who's betraying her. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I think even, I mean, you can kind of. I feel like you can sort of see it in the. So I'm just getting the images, but you can kind of see it in like the Resistance cast. Okay, right, Donald Faison doesn't really look. I mean, to be fair, we haven't actually seen what. Well, actually, no. Hype Faison's obviously like a Rodian and all that stuff. To be fair,
Yeah.
So, like if it's like an alien species, then you don't see it as much. But if it's like a human, for example, I mean, if you look at, I might have gone a bit too. I mean, Tora Doza, kind like her actress, you could maybe see like an older Tora in that, I guess. I can kind of see it with Tam, but Yeager's the main thing. Like you can kind of see like Scott Lawrence in Yeager for sure. Like he would definitely, if Yeager was to be in live action, you could kind of see Scott Lawrence definitely betraying him. And I think that's the point. Like what they try and do, if they're like actual like humans, then perhaps they try and base the actual characters on their live action, like on their real life actors or actresses, because that way it makes it easier if they were to come into these. If they were to come into the live action, then perhaps they could actually go and portray them, maybe.
So overall, we're excited for the Mandalorian celebration, or?
I'm definitely excited for it. I think we'll get some juicy information for it. It would definitely be great to get some more info on it at the moment, because we've seen like teasers from Jon Favreau, and actually he'll probably be there as well, actually, to unveil some of the information and stuff. So it'll be definitely interesting to have the Mandalorian there. I think it's a really great opportunity to actually promote the show as well, actually even more as well. So yeah, definitely excited for it.
I think we do have to quickly talk about the gaming side as well. Obviously, we've already briefly touched on Battlefront 2, and it might be there. But in terms of the other games, we've got Fallen Order, which will definitely be there, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
We have, of course, got Star Wars: The Republic as well. I think Galaxy of Heroes will be there, but they'll sort of be like in the background sort of thing if they reveal anything, because obviously it's only a mobile game. So in terms of Fallen Order and New Republic, Fallen Order first, what are you expecting to see from that?
From Fallen Order, I'm expecting to get, I mean, like, it's a single player game and all that stuff, so I'm definitely thinking we'll get, I think we'll get a story trailer, like a cinematic story trailer at Celebration, and then at EA Play we'll get like a gameplay trailer for it. But we'll get probably some information, like a bit more of the actual story, because we overall we know that you play as a Jedi a Jedi Padawan who escaped Order 66 and survived all this stuff. So we'll get to know some of the names of the characters, if we see some of the Inquisitors, like who we'll see, planet names I'm hoping for, and just overall maybe just an insight into the overall gameplay and the actual story itself, we'll probably get a bit like that, because that's how it sort of felt like in Battlefront 2 with Celebration 2 years ago. So I think we'll definitely get those sort of things this year for Fallen Order.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Trailer, yeah, I think we'll definitely get one. Like you said, maybe a cinematic sort of trailer, single player. Show off maybe just a little bit of the story, the characters, sort of thing. I think it would be really cool as well, and obviously have a panel about it. Maybe not even just a panel specifically about the Fallen Order, but maybe just a panel about Star Wars games in general, because obviously got the whole thing going on at the moment about, EA running the show for gaming side of things and all the controversy there. So maybe just have a panel about Star Wars games where maybe they should talk about what they've got in, what they're planning on doing in terms of future projects, and obviously what they've got in the works now. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Fallen Order panel.
Yeah, it's going to be really good.
Hopefully reveal some juicy details as well, like you say. And yeah, I think it'll be great. In terms of Old Republic, I don't think there's going to be an actual panel for it. But the rumors are, due to various teases from the community manager, he's been saying to look out for the Old Republic team at Celebration. Now, people are saying that's because, obviously, we've got the upcoming expansion, and there is a lot of people theorizing that we're going to get the expansion cinematic trailer, which I think would be, it'd be great. Obviously, we've seen the Star Wars The Republic cinematic trailers, and they're awesome. They're good.
Yeah,
good is an understatement, though. But yeah, I think that'd be cool to see. In terms of what else they'll be doing, I don't know. I think it'll just be details about future events and all that good stuff. So I'm definitely looking forward to that side of things, without a doubt.
I think going back to another point you made actually as well, you said that instead of just seeing necessarily just one game, just an overall panel about Star Wars gaming in general, I think would be really important, because the way it just, the overall vibe around a lot of the community is that EA have let us down with the Star Wars license massively, all these things. So I think it would be really nice if there was just a panel of like some EA and the Star Wars team there, just be like, okay, right, we're sorry that, we haven't performed to how you might want us to. We do apologize, we've made mistakes. This is what we're doing with Battlefront 2. This is what we're doing with Fallen Order. We've got, like, these other games are going to be, are in development, they are coming out, and all these things. And I think, there's the whole legal obligation behind all of this. It's not that easy, but I think it would be really important, and I think it'd be a really nice thing to do if, if EA and other Star Wars teams just came out and did that, just said, we're doing this, and this is kind of what the game's about. This is our kind of aimed release time, a roadmap for Battlefront 2, all these things are. I think that would be really, really good.
Yeah, like I say, obviously you've got all the controversy around EA, around the Star Wars gaming side of things. So if they did do a panel on, just Star Wars games in general, do you think there could be something that they could announce in terms of what we've not heard yet? Or
well, yeah, that's the thing. Because when there was the whole reporting of the EA cancellation, the guy who was reporting on it actually said that there was
the smaller game,
so there's the smaller game from EA Vancouver, but there was also an unannounced game from EA Motive.
Yeah.
So Motive are obviously the guys who did the campaign. So we could potentially see that get announced at Celebration, maybe. I think that would be really nice to see.
So maybe sort of like another single player game, or
perhaps like another single player game as well. But yeah, because I think it's great. Battlefront 2 is personally, I really enjoy the game. Yeah, it's buggy as hell, but it's a solid multiplayer experience. And I think actually the potential for single player stories and styles again is huge. So they can have like this I think they can definitely focus on. I think they can definitely focus doing a bunch of single player games for that. But I think it would be interesting to get another multiplayer game at some point. But like open world online sort of thing, I think that would also be great. But again, it's probably going to be a long, long way off, so it's not something they perhaps talked about.
So the Star Wars gaming side of things, Celebration, are you excited, to see what goes on? Or
I'm obviously like really, really excited to see what happens. I'm kind of nervous as well because me being like an EA shill and all that stuff, I don't want there to be any of this backlash that we've already had. It's not okay, like we're getting.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've already got the backlash with the movie side of things, so it's just adding to the backlash.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just I don't want that. I can't be asked for it. Like whatever happens, I'm just going to be enjoying myself playing these games and that stuff. But overall, I am excited. I think it would be great to see some details for Fallen Order, maybe a couple other games, perhaps. But when I was listening to because I listened to a small amount of the Disney call, and then I went and listened to the rest of EA. But literally the small amount of stuff I went on to the Disney call about was literally Bob Iger saying, "Oh, we've never really been this good with the whole publishing side of games, so we're just going to leave that to other people." So, like, we've not been good at the publishing side. That's why we're going to do licensing. So we'll give publishers a license. And Bob Iger said that the relationship between Disney and EA is actually really strong. So they've got a good relationship. Like no matter, like despite what's actually happened, they've got a good relationship. So I think that was a really great thing to hear. That was really, really nice. I'm hoping EA can keep the license after 2023. They can bring out a bunch of games then. I think the license should also be shared to other publishers out there. But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I think it's really, really good to hear that actually they've got a really strong, that they do have a good relationship with EA, between EA and Disney. That's positive. I'm hoping that therefore can help Battlefront 2 progress after 2019 with content for years to come, because at the moment that's their only multiplayer experience that EA have released for Star Wars. In terms of, like the canon stuff, obviously there's like Knights of the Old Republic, but like in terms of like first person shooters, all this stuff, Battlefront 2, well, it's also Battlefront 1 as well, but Battlefront 2 being the sequel to Battlefront is all they've got. So I think they could what they can do is just have DICE just keep working on Battlefront 2 and then have someone else work on another multiplayer experience that actually they can then develop from there. Because if they have like 2 or 3 multiplayer experiences, maybe 2, I feel like 3 might, depending on the game, could saturate a little bit, but and like draw players away from other things. So if they have like 2 core multiplayer experiences, one with Battlefront and one maybe being an online open world thing, and then they have like 3 or 4 solid single player games that actually maybe get developed further, I think that would be really, really good.
Yeah, in terms of games at Celebration, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, Fallen Order, we don't really know much about it yet, but I think we'll find out a lot more at Celebration.
Oh yeah, we absolutely will.
Obviously, the Old Republic and hopefully maybe even Galaxy of Heroes. They normally drop something at Celebration. Obviously, like we said before, unannounced things. Hopefully, we'll get at least one unannounced game, maybe some information on it, maybe even a teaser trailer, who knows. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that side of things. In terms of Celebration, I don't think there's much else in terms of what's been announced to go over.
No, I think we've pretty much covered most of it, I think.
In terms of Celebration overall, are you looking forward to it? And what's the thing that you're most anticipating?
I mean, I'm always like Star Wars Celebration is something I always look forward to. I mean, in all fairness, like the first Celebration, I actually I only first heard of Star Wars Celebration when I was in London, to be fair.
Yeah.
And that was when obviously like Star Wars started coming back and all that stuff. But every year thereafter, Celebration has always been something that I've been looking forward to. The last Celebration was in Orlando, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I was actually like, I can remember I was just sat at home just watching the live stream like for a lot of it. And then I was back, that was when I was at my mum's, came back here, and I was then, watching the Orlando stuff from here. I was getting all this information. So this year, if I'm able to, I'm just going to be sat watching the live streams just all day, trying to pick out news and stuff like that.
I'm going to be the exact same, yeah.
It's going to be so good. And then after that, we can obviously just have another podcast talking about what we thought and some of the stuff, just talk about it and stuff, So that would be really nice. So yeah, overall, really, really looking forward to Celebration. I think it's going to be the best one yet. 2019, I think, is going to be the best year for Star Wars in a while. But what I'm most anticipating, honestly, I think Episode 9, mainly obviously because it's the final episode of the Skywalker saga. It's the end of the sequel trilogy. I'd love to get you cleared this up with me a few weeks ago, but I still forget, get confused with it. But I'd love to see more films with characters like Rey, Finn, Poe, and all that stuff. So I think I'm really looking forward to seeing a trailer for Episode 9, the panel there, getting a bit of information. After that, it would probably be a mix between games and then Mandalorian as well.
See, with me, it's tricky. Obviously, I'm looking forward to all of it. But if I had to pick one thing out, I'd probably say Star Wars games. Like I say, obviously, I'm looking forward to all of it. But Star Wars games, obviously, like I say, you've got Fallen Order, Old Republic, Battlefront 2, potentially. Unannounced games, potentially. There's so much potential in that lineup, and I mean, obviously, hopefully EA deliver that Celebration, but I'd probably have to go with Star Wars games, but Episode 9 would definitely be a close second, because obviously the teaser trailer will drop, and
absolutely.
Just to see them talking about the film as well, I think that'll be great, just to see their experiences, and I think that'll be really cool. But I'd probably have to say Star Wars games, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
But overall, I am really looking forward to it. Like I say, it's one of the highlights of the year for me, and I can't wait for it, honestly. I'm just going to be binge watching it all weekend. So.
Definitely. And as Seekonk said, hopefully we will get some surprises in terms of gaming news and all that stuff, because it's one of those things that actually. Hopefully Battlefront 2, we can get some content news there. Fallen Order will get a bunch of stuff, as we already know. But I think the surprise would come if we get a few, another announced Star Wars game, and they'd be like, this is coming at this point. The thing is, though, for me, when a Star Wars game gets announced, it's just I genuinely want it now. I was genuinely just... every day, literally every single day after Battlefront 2 was announced, I was literally sat in my brother's room. He was just lying on his bed, and I was sat back against the wall on the floor, talking to him about what could happen in this story, what's going to be in the multiplayer if it's all three eras, what maps could they have, all this stuff. And that's my channel is very much I do speculate a lot, and that's kind of where it's come from. It's when the first trailer was shown off, it was all I was doing for months until the game finally released was sitting down and speculating what's going to come. And for me, that was I was doing that religiously in a way. I had to just get in there. If I was doing nothing, I had to sit down and just sometimes Guy was just yeah, cool. Not really listening to me, but I was just sat there doing it anyway. And it was just it's one of those things that actually, that is now
Well, that's another great thing about Star Wars. You can speculate on everything. You get it with the trailers and even the smallest of things, and people will just spot it and they'll talk about it I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. Like if we got an episode, well, we are obviously getting an episode 9 trailer, but if we got in the trailer, if we got like, I don't know, something that belongs to Jar Jar Binks or something, and then you get people saying, "Oh, Jar Jar Binks is confirmed for episode 9," and
Yeah.
you know,
Like, yeah.
well, that's the great thing about Star Wars, though. Like I say,
Absolutely.
and yeah, episode 9 trailer. I can't wait to just break it down to hell.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things. I'll watch it like when it first comes out. I'll watch it.
And I'll watch it about 50 more times.
And then, yeah, I'll watch it several other times, but I'll just for the first time I'll just watch it for the sake of trying to take in as much as I can. Rewatching it like a few times over just to try and pick out anything that they throw at us, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, overall, really excited for it. I'm jealous of the people that are going. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I am super jealous.
And yeah, hopefully we can go in the future, in a few years' time or so. But yeah, overall, we're both really looking forward to it.
Absolutely looking forward to it. It's gonna be good.
In the comments, Star Wars guy says, latest Resistance episode preview had me translating Aurebesh and speculating.
To be fair, actually, like Star Wars guy, he genuinely actually wrote an essay in Aurebesh.
Oh my god.
He wrote an essay in Aurebesh and handed it to a teacher. The teacher then actually went out of his way to go and find the language and translate it for him, and he got like top marks for it.
Oh no. Not even I'm that dedicated. Jeez.
Yeah, like it's mad.
Mad. But yeah, it's been another great podcast.
It has, absolutely.
And of course, thank you to everyone that came out.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Oh wait, that wasn't you? Who was it? Wait, he said that wasn't me. Oh, someone did it. I thought it was you. Huh? Okay, someone did it. I could have sworn it was you, Styles guy. I could have sworn it was.
But
you.
I was there in the stream with who you were talking to about
that. Okay, so you were in the stream. Okay, all right. So you were in the stream when that happened. Okay, it was someone. No, I just thought like because you said that you were translating Aurebesh, all that stuff. I thought that might have been you. Oh. Okay, well, I apologize for falsely accusing you of doing that. But yeah, someone went in his way. Someone went out of their way to go and actually write an essay in Aurebesh, and their teacher translated it. It's crazy. But yeah, Seaconks, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Appreciate you coming in and having a bit of a listen.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Obviously, you can always listen to the replay if you want to listen to the whole thing. Yeah, I think we've pretty much talked about everything that we wanted to go over. Celebration in general, you know, we've got the Mandalorian, Clone Wars, Episode 9, gaming, the guests, got the stage host Warwick Davis, things that we wanted from it, and yeah, I think it's been another great podcast, like I said, and thank you to everyone that came out, and of course, thank you to my co-host Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Winston. Appreciate it. Yeah, they did indeed say they got 11 out of 10 yesterday. I remember that. Sure, but yeah, it was crazy, and yeah, today's been a really good podcast. Actually, a lot of fun, a lot of stuff coming in Celebration that we will obviously go over in a future podcast after Celebration as well, just so we can find out information there. Just talk about it in general. So I think today's been really, really good.
Thank you to you, Seaconks. Thank you to listening.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you. So yeah, I think is that a good place to end it there?
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, yeah. So guys, there's a good podcast on Star Wars Celebration. We'll be back at some point. We'll let you guys know on Twitter and Discord and all these other places. But yeah, thank you guys all for not for watching, but for listening. Thank you again to Branster for excellently co-hosting and asking these amazing questions and having a good conversation.
Yeah, thank you to everyone that came out, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you in the next podcast.
Yeah, see you guys.